The Torah tells us how important it is, the midah of hakaras hatov. Here we have the Egyptians, that we know what we went through. We were brutally murdered by them constantly. It was forced labor. There were concentration camps where they were just destroying us by the millions. They were taking advantage of us, our families, our children, in every direction. We came in, we gave them so much. With us, when Yaakov Avinu came down, caused prosperity, there was a hunger that was ravaging the land, and it all came to a stop when he came. Yet they turned on us, and they said, let's try to outsmart these Jews. And they came up with a final solution. And they were busy throwing our children into the Nile. And they were busy taking children and slaughtering them to be able to fill baths with blood so that Pharaoh could just go and bathe inside. And they were busy doing atrocities that probably weren't seen the likes of, other than in perhaps in World War II, when the Holocaust, literally it was like the Nazis, the way that they were, what they were doing to us. And through all that, the Torah then says, Lo tisa'ev mitzri. Don't try to cause unnecessary conflict or pain towards an Egyptian. Why? Ki lo tisa'ev mitzri, ki ger hayisa ba'artzai. Because you lived in his land. Since you lived in his land, there was a time that you needed him. Because when Yaakov came down originally, well, before Yaakov, but when they went down in order to be able to get all the grain and stuff to be able to survive the famine, you needed them. And because of that, even though afterwards they turned on you, and even though afterwards they did such terrible, horrific things, still, hakaras hatov, gratitude, is necessary towards them. And forever and ever, you're never allowed to go and destroy and just inflict damage without need on an Egyptian. They also don't become usher in order for us to marry. If they want to become a ger, they're allowed to become a ger, as opposed to other Amma and Moav, they're not allowed to become gerim even. So, you see what the measure of hakaras hatov is. Think about that. Now, imagine the greatest, probably the most incumbent, most important part of hakaras hatov probably falls on a person towards his parents. We have the mitzvah of kibbud av va'em, meira av va'em. There are mitzvahs in the Torah that a person should be able to give proper kavod. Now, it's not necessarily easy. Sometimes we tend to think differently than our parents. Very often we have inside of us a need to rebel, which is a natural thing, whether the parents were too frum, so, the child tries to go the other way, or the other way around, the child then becomes too frum, and the parents are, people constantly try to rebel. That's a standard thing. Hashem put it into the Bria. The teenager tries to push his limits. Now, we still have to, through all thick and thin, we still have to remember what our parents have done for us. I mean, even from the moment before we were around, just the fact that your mother had to carry you around for 9 months, just the fact that your parents had to deal with all of the expenses that are involved. They're incredible expenses, starting from the first doctor's checkup all the way through the hospital bills, and the constant diaper changes, and the constant staying up at night with child not feeling well, sick, missing out on job, missing out on this just for the child's benefit. There's constantly, even the parent that is the most unengaged parent, the parent that is the least involved with their child, still gives to their child worlds, guaranteed. And the parent, unless they left you on a doorstep by someone else's house, you have a lot to thank them for. So therefore, when the Torah points to us to the opposite extreme, where we have Egyptians that literally were the most brutal and inhumane to us, and yet we still have to feel gratitude towards them. It's for us to be able to learn from that and be able to see that all the people in our lives, and especially our parents, we have to be able to say, wait a second, even though things may not seem like I necessarily want everything. I like everything that they do, all of their shittas and everything involved. That's okay. Still, hakaras hatov, the amount of gratitude that you have to have towards them, and really everyone in your life, whoever it is that gives you something, is so immense, is so great. And that's what the Torah is trying to teach us here.